So, let's talk about compliance. When you hear that word, what's the first thing that pops into your head? For most of us, it's probably, these giant rule books, a bunch of legalese, and basically a huge list of don'ts. But what if I told you that's kind of the wrong way to look at it? What if true compliance is actually a secret weapon for building an incredible business?
All right, so let's get right into it. If you boil it down, there are really three traditional pillars for why any company, doesn't matter if you're a tiny startup or a huge corporation, has a compliance department. Now, we're going to hit all three, but trust me, it's that third one, the competitive edge, where the real magic happens.
All right, so 3 reasons for compliance. Let's quickly knock out the first 2. These are the obvious ones, right? But stick with me, because they're really just the tip of the iceberg. Reason number 1. People don't always respect the rules. And, let's be real here. The most fundamental reason for compliance to even exist is that, people break rules. It's just a fact of life. And companies pour a ton of money and effort into just getting their own employees to meet the bare minimum legal standards. And reason number 2, regulators demand it. This one's pretty simple. You just don't have a choice. Governments and regulators, they've got some serious muscle with laws like the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act, or FCPA, that makes things like bribing foreign officials a huge no-no. They've made it crystal clear. Having a solid compliance program, it's not a nice to have. It's a ticket to the game.
Okay, next section, when rules are not enough. And this is where it gets really interesting. So you've got rules for people, you've got regulations for companies. Sounds like we should be all set, right? Problem solved? But we're not. So what gives? Why are we still seeing these colossal corporate meltdowns?
Right, and this really is the big question, isn't it? If a company has a rule book that's 1,000 pages long, why does it still fail? Think about it. So many of the companies involved in the worst scandals, they had compliance programs, they had the giant binders sitting on a shelf, but it was all just for show. When the pressure was on, it meant nothing. So why? And this quote from Professor Hirsch Sheffrin just nails it. He says, "In each of the biggest risk management disasters of the last 15 years, the problem has not been a technical issue, but a psychological one." That's it right there. This isn't about a failure of rules, it's a failure to understand people. The problem isn't a legal one, it's a psychological one.
So if the problem is psychological, then the solution has to be too, right? This means we have to completely change how we think about this. The real question isn't, how do I enforce the rules? It's, how do I get my people to make good decisions in difficult situations? This flips compliance on its head. It's no longer about punishment and saying no, it becomes about leadership and empowering people to say yes to the right thing.
So how do you actually do that? How do you inspire good decisions instead of just demanding them? Well, there's an amazing framework for this from Simon Sinek, and it's called the Golden Circle of Integrity. So the Golden Circle is a model from Simon Sinek that shows how great leaders inspire action by communicating from the inside out, from why to how to what. It's pretty simple, really. It has 3 parts. On the outside ring, you've got the what. Every single organization knows what it does. We make cars, we sell coffee, whatever. Then there's the how. Some companies know how they do it. That's their secret sauce, their unique process. But at the very center, the core, is the why. And this is where most companies get lost. The why isn't about making money. That's a result. The why is your purpose, your cause, your core belief. It's the reason you get out of bed in the morning. And you can see the difference so clearly with this example. On the left, you've got how most companies talk. They start from the outside in. We make great computers. They're beautifully designed and easy to use. Want to buy one? It's fine. It's a statement. But now look at the right. This is how inspired leaders like Apple communicate. Inside out. In everything we do, we believe in challenging the status quo. We do this by making our products beautifully designed and easy to use. We just happen to make great computers. Want to buy one? See the difference? The whole vibe changes. It's inspiring.
And this gets to the core of Sinek's whole idea. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And this isn't just some clever marketing slogan. It's actually rooted in biology. When you talk about your what, you're talking to the neocortex, the part of our brain that handles rational thought and language. But when you talk about your why, you're speaking directly to the limbic system. That's the part of the brain responsible for all our feelings, like trust and loyalty. It's also responsible for all human behavior and decision-making. It's where your gut feelings live.
This idea also ties perfectly into something called the law of diffusion of innovation. You've probably seen this curve before. To get any new idea or product to the mainstream, you can't just jump to the majority. You have to win over that first small group, the innovators and the early adopters. And guess what? These are the people who make decisions with their gut. They're the ones who will take a risk on a new idea because it aligns with their own beliefs, with their own why. Win them over, and the rest will follow.
So what does all this leadership stuff have to do with compliance? Everything. Leading with why is not just a sales tactic. It's the blueprint for building a true culture of integrity. You shift your focus from building a cage of rules to creating a community of people who believe in what you're doing. Because at the end of the day, your employees aren't reading the fine print in the compliance manual. They're watching what's actually happening around them. So you have to ask yourself some tough questions. Are ethical actions actually rewarded in your company? Are improper actions punished? What is the real message these actions are sending to everyone?
Yeah, we talk a lot about tone from the top, but that's not some email from the CEO. It comes down to 3 key drivers of an ethical culture. First, leadership. What does your boss actually do every day? Second, internal justice. Who gets the promotion versus who gets shown the door? And third, the incentive systems. What does the company truly reward? Is it just hitting short-term numbers no matter the cost? Or is it ethical conduct? That's what tells employees what really matters.
It really is this simple. What you do will always be heavier, always more important than what you write down on paper. Actions versus paper. Actions win every single time. A real culture of integrity isn't built on a perfect rulebook. It's built on thousands of consistent, visible actions, day in and day out. Okay, so here it is. Your ethical advantage. This is where we circle all the way back to that third pillar we talked about at the beginning. Because when you get this stuff right, when you lead with your purpose and you build a culture based on action, compliance stops being just a department that costs you money. It becomes a genuine, powerful, competitive advantage. Think of it like this. A truly modern compliance program isn't some isolated department off in a corner. It's the central gear. It's what connects risk management, ethics, and your overall competitive advantage into one smooth-running machine. It's what gets everyone in the entire company pulling in the same direction, all because they share that same core belief. And the benefits of leading with why are not just fuzzy feelings. They're real. You get more transparency. You build a powerful reputation that's almost impossible for your rivals to copy. You start to attract and keep the absolute best talent. And all of this creates a sustainable competitive advantage. I mean, think about it. Anyone can copy your product, but no one can copy your culture. So I'll leave you with this final thought. Is your company broadcasting its what? Or is it broadcasting its why? When you really look at your organization, from how it sells itself to how it treats its own people, is it just listing features and services, or is it genuinely inspiring people with a purpose? Because that answer, well, it changes everything.